Hello, let's start with imaginary number or complex number. So first of all, what is a complex number? So say if you have a number under root minus 4. Now what is the value of under root minus 4? We know that under root 4 will be equal to 2. It can be positive 2 or negative 2. But we don't know what under root negative 4 will be, because minus 2 square is also plus 4 and plus 2 square is also plus 4. So it has no value. If you have a number inside the under root that is negative, we don't have a value for it in a real number system. So we consider it an imaginary number. We can imagine what it is, but we don't know actual value for it. And obviously, if you write a number like 2 plus under root minus 5, this will also be considered an imaginary number because we are adding a real number and an imaginary number together. The result will be imaginary only because still we can't get an actual physical value for this number. So these are known as imaginary numbers. To represent it, we take under root negative 1 as I. And we split all the other imaginary numbers in this form only. Now, some quick tips before we start. We know I is equal to under root minus 1, I square. This will be equals to negative 1, I cube. This will be equal to minus I because I cube will be I into I square, that is I into negative 1. And this one is important, I to the power 4. This will be equal to positive 1. These are few things that we are going to use. Now let's start with the first question. Find the value of this. Now here we'll add them up like we generally add. We'll add the real numbers together and the imaginary numbers together. So this will give us negative 9. This would be 9i plus 3i, that is plus 12i. So this is going to be the answer, negative 9 plus 12i. Now for I equals to under root negative 1, we have to find this. This would be negative 3 minus 5i plus 9 minus 2i. So here we have 9 minus 3, that is 6, minus, this would be 5 and 2, that would be minus 7i. So it's coming as 6 minus 7i. Now we have to find the sum of this. This also will just open it up. So it's negative 3i plus 12 plus 10i minus 15. So here we have 10i minus 3i, that is 7i. And then we have 12 minus 15, that is minus 3. So 7i minus 3 is the answer. Now for I equals to root 1, find the value of 9 plus I into 6i. So 9 plus 6i square. We know I square equals to negative 1. So this would be 9 minus 6. That is coming as 3. So the value of this will be equal to 3. That should be the answer. Now what is the value of this? Here we can divide it first. So we'll get 6i to the power 4 upon 3i square minus I cube upon 3i square. We can cancel 3 and 6. We'll get 2. And I to the power 4 and I square will also be cancelled. So we'll get 2i square minus 1 by 3. Here we'll get I cube minus 2. So I. Now 2i square will be equal to minus 2. Minus 1 by 3i. This is the answer. Negative 2, negative 1 by 3i. Now next question. Which of the following complex number is equivalent to this? Now to solve this type of question, if you remember rationalizing the denominator, we use the same concept here. Because here also what we want is the square of I in the denominator to remove it and make it a real number. So we'll practice the same method as we rationalize the denominator. We'll multiply and divide it with the coefficient. we'll multiply and divide it with the opposite sign. Here we have 4 minus 3i. So we'll multiply it by 4 plus 3i upon 4 plus 3i. Okay, this is known as conjugate. We multiply and divide it by the conjugate. Conjugate is basically the imaginary part has a different sign. Like if we have a number a plus ib, and you have to find its conjugate, that would be equal to a minus ib. We just change the sign of the imaginary part. So we multiply and divide it by its conjugate. In the numerator, we'll have 3 plus I multiplied by 4 plus 3i. In the denominator, we'll have a square minus b square, because it's a plus b into a minus b. So 4 square minus 3i square. So we'll get 12 plus 9i plus 4i plus 3i square upon 16 minus 9i square. Now 3i square is basically negative 3, because I square is minus 1. So here we have 12 minus 3, that will be 9. Plus 9 plus 4, that is 39 upon 16, and this will become plus 9. So that should be 25. So the final answer will be 9 upon 25 plus 13i upon 25. So this is our answer. Next question. If the expression is rewritten in the form of a plus bi, you have to find the values of a and b. And then what is the value of b equal to? Here also we'll basically use the same steps. We want to make the denominator a real number. For this, we'll have to multiply and divide it by the conjugate. So 2 minus 3i divided by 2 minus 3i. So here we are going to write it as 2 square minus 3i square. And here we'll just multiply it. Minus 3 into 2 will be negative 6. And then minus 3 into minus 3 will be positive 9i. And then negative 2i into 2, that would be negative 4i. And then minus into minus plus 6i square. So here we have negative 6, and this will also be negative 6. So that is negative 12. And then we have 9 minus 4, that is 5i. Upon 2 square 4 plus, here we'll make it plus because it's coming as 9i square. So that would be positive 9. So 4 plus 9, that is 13. So we'll get minus 12 upon 13 plus 5i upon 13. Now we can compare these. Minus 12 by 13 plus 5i by 13 is equal to a plus bi. B is the imaginary part. So in two complex number, the real numbers, if the complex number is equal, then that means the real part of both of them will be equal and the imaginary part of both of them will be equal. So therefore, b is equals to 5 upon 13. So b is coming as 5 upon 13. That would be the answer. The next question. For I equals to under root negative 1, what is the value of I minus 2 into I plus 3 upon 2i? First we'll multiply it. So I into I is I square plus 3i minus 2i minus 6 upon 2i. So I square is minus 1 and minus 6. So that is equal to minus 7 plus I upon 2i. Let's divide them. So negative 7 upon 2i plus I upon 2i. This I and I will be cancelled one time. Here we can write it as minus 7i to the power 4 because I to the power 4 is basically 1. So we'll get negative 7 by 2 I cube. I to the power 4 minus 1 plus 1 by 2. We know I cube is minus I. So minus into minus plus 7 by 2i plus 1 by 2. So the answer is 1 by 2 plus 7 by 2i. This is the answer.